As you're dating younger women and you're kind of like damaging them at a young age. So now when we get to our 30s, we're completely damaged by older men. And now we don't want y'all and y'all don't want us. The man is 40, 45, let's say. He has his money, his house. Now he got time to go live his best life. Now he wants to date younger women. Let's say a 21-year-old. Now he dates her for 4 years. While he's dating her, he's cheating with other 19, 20, 25-year-olds. You're damaging this young girl, right? You're causing trauma and damage that's gonna cost her pretty much years to heal. Fast forward years later, she's 30. She's damaged. All because a 40-year-old wants to be living his best life after he built himself.
The issue with this video is that, and I always say it, that women do not understand accountability. Yes, men say that they want a woman with low body count, right? So why would they choose a younger woman and then rack up her body count and damage her or whatever, right? You forget the point where you chose that man. Men want a woman with a low body count. It's not necessarily just because of a low body count. It's about showing that you have good decision making. That you do not just let any man, rack up your body count. You have it for men that, and it's not just because, oh, a man is tall enough, good looking enough, rich enough, because then you lose the personality. You wait for a man, you pick a man that has good morals, good characters, a man that's commitment focused, if that's what you want, right? That's why later on when men who are good men, decent men, right? Who are focused on commitment, who has good morals, good character, a decent personality, a man that I say of substance and of value to a relationship. He does not deserve a woman that has low body count where she made bad choices, right? Dealing with men that would rack up her body count. That's one of the real meanings of high body count. Have better taste, have a more focused dating criteria. You want commitment? Date men for commitment. That's the problem. You gotta admit, there's good and bad men, there's good and bad women, right? It's your job, your prerogative, your responsibility to pick the correct person. No one else, right? So it is, at the end of the day, you chose to deal with these terrible men. You chose to deal with these men that weren't into commitment, that would rack up your body count. So at the end of the day, it's your fault. Take accountability, right? You chose to deal with these men, live with outcome. And I believe that men nowadays are slowly having better standards and believing in themselves more, or valuing themselves more. And I'm all for it. I believe men should value themselves a lot more, because at the end of the day, in general, whoever you date, when it comes to a man, you always want him to provide, right? He's taking the burden of provision. And also with modern day, while providing, you always want him to do half of everything else, taking care of kids, housework. So now he's not just providing, he's doing half of everything else too. So men should value themselves a whole lot more, because modern women have even higher standards. And I believe men do hold up to those standards. It's just that women aren't. Women aren't holding up to men's standards, right? Because women don't care what men want. Women don't care to hear what men feel and think, and what they want. So, but to the point where I'm always for accountability. You did it to yourself.
I think younger women tend to be more impressionable. I think older women, in my experience, you 30, 33, 35, the experiences that you have at that point is just, a little bit too much for me. And I really think in some cases you really can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I prefer, my women to be of the younger variety.
If a woman wants to respect you and give you the respect to lead and be her partner, why do you need to have that level of power over her if you're not trying to manipulate someone?
See, it's not power, it's impressionable. I've never seen a successful partnership where the other person wouldn't allow themselves to be impressed upon. If I'm a person and I got a vision, I got a plan, I got a whole program, I would think that the person that wants to be with me is willing to learn and willing to adopt some of the ways and even some of the principles that I have.
That's not impressionable. Impressionable is basically getting someone to do what you want them to do because they're easily swayed and easily persuaded to do what you want them to do.
Who said that? Did you make that up?
Well, I
like
when
you hire somebody, you look for somebody that's impressionable.
But
why would I listen?
Right, so you can train them. So you can, when you hire somebody, you're about to train them.
Now,
and that's why you want them impressionable.
I would like to say that sometimes people, right, they can't clearly articulate the ideals that they have, right? They use certain words, but it's not to the literal definition, in a sense. So say this man saying impressionable, it's not in the sense that you're a child, you're controlling or stuff like that, right? It's about, you have to think the type of man you want. These are the type of men that are looking to be in the role of a leader, right? Be in a role that directs his relationship, directs his life, being a leader within his relationship. And a leader that has a partner or, someone that follows him, questioning his every movement, thinking that, because, let's say she's 35, been there, done that, have a lot of experience in life. She may not agree with the things he's done or the things that he says, right? Or the actions that he would take. She'll question it or or don't agree to it or fight it, right? That's the point. What men, right, especially if you are the type of man that's a leadership kind of man, want to deal with that, want to deal with battles, right? If you are this kind of man, you have the battles of life already. You deal with, you're trying to make money, you're trying to, whatever, outside the world. Then you come into your relationship, you come in your home, you have to battle a woman. You're a woman, about what to do, decisions to make, things like that. Steps to take, actions to take. That's the point where it's a headache, where you have to deal with someone's aggression, because it's true that typically, right, and in general, the older you are, right, the more you experience in life. The more maybe jaded you are in life, the more experiences you've had, it shapes your personality. So again, in general, you could be very aggressive, you might not agree with other people because you're probably used to, at 35, you're probably used to, getting your own way or being by yourself or whatever, So it's hard to, have that kind of dynamic, hard to have the type of partnership a man that's a leader would want to have. So women don't understand that, okay, this is this man's standards, his standards and preferences. He generally want a younger woman because it's easier to be a leader of someone who's not going to be combative, who's not going to fight back on, every decision he makes, not going to question every decision he makes, trusts him because she easily trusts him you know, to make the decisions, because she let him lead, right? She's feminine, submissive, and trusts her man enough to let him lead, let him take control, and follow his lead, right? And could see the things that he, you know, the sense that he's making, right? And also take his advice or his direction to heart, take it, you know, easily, you know, you know, the experiences he give you is what shapes your life. Instead of, you know, you being with a terrible man now and he shapes your life however it is, you know. Abusive man, you know, let's say for example, an abusive man would shape your life, you know, one man that's abusive, you break up, then the next man that's a cheater, you break up. Those actually shape your life, shape your ideals, your values, your mindset. Those are things that it's talking about, right? That through life, it shapes your ideals, shapes your mindset, shapes your personality, shapes your views in life. What man wants to deal with the walls that other men have constructed in your heart? What man wants to deal with that? Right? It takes a certain type of man, and you know what? Not all men really want to go through the headache. And I've been there, where, you know, you go with a boss bitch, you know, someone who's so headstrong, pig-headed, you know, so set in her ways that you have to fight her on practically any decision and every decision. What real sane man wants to deal with that? Right? It takes maybe a simpy beta male, you know, in some cases, to be fine with it, fine dealing with it, because, you know, like, this is what he has, you know. But there are these type of men that a lot of women want, the leadership men, the men that's assertive, you know, that, you know, has a good head and shoulders, all the stuff. But he's not going to want to deal with these older, aggressive women that don't follow directions, that would not want to follow directions. That's just how it is. And that's a deeper way to know what these words he's saying is.
It's really obvious, black men, that y'all do not value black women, because if you did, you definitely would not have made black women the largest population of single mothers. I mean, present day, that's obviously changing, because your preferences are seeing that they're getting the same black men and that they're pale skinned